so we're doing a review of the gate. Part of your project is to have a threshold that you cross for the psychological aspect of like, oh no, you've left the point of no, or you're beyond the point of no return, or you've crossed over the safety zone, like don't go in there type of, it's the killer's in there. So we're gonna have a gate. You can have this open. I think I have one somewhere where the gate opens. It's not it. Maybe this one. No, definitely not that one. I forgot which one it is. Hang on for a second. Let me find this sucker. All right, there it is. So you can, like, make an animation of the gates opening up if you want, or you just pass through them or whatever. So how do we make this gate? Well, we need two like columns to support the gate, but I would suggest you make the iron rods of the gate first. So like we'll just make a real skinny, we're gonna use a duplicate feature. There's also a cloner tool, which is really handy, but I think I'll save teaching you the cloner tool until we do the motion graphics project. All right, so there's our cube. Let's lift it up so it's off the ground, and then we'll make it long for a gate. So we're making like a wrought iron gate, which is like a simple one, nothing fancy pants. Remember, the fog and the nighttime and all that is really going to hide a lot of the flaws and textures. So we just have to do a decent, basic, good job on, this stuff. And if you want to get more intricate and more detailed, you can. Wrought iron gates come in many different shapes and sizes and details. You can go online, Google it, kind of inspire yourself. We're going to be using some sweeps, so we'll draw that and we'll use the sweep for the tube method, but just for the posts and the little spear points that go on. Sometimes they have fleur-de-lis, whatever you want to do, and I could show fleur-de-lis in class. I don't think I'm going to show it here, just because it'll take too long. All right, so now that we have that, we're going to convert it with our spheres tool. We're going to do that so that we can move the axes to the bottom of the post, and that way, don't forget to get off the axes tool right there, otherwise you'll screw up everything. That way when we want to like duplicate, we can like scale these things instantly, and it scales from the bottom up, so we can kind of create like an arch or whatever we need to at the gate. Excuse me, I'm always coughing in the morning. All right, so let's duplicate this sucker. So we're going to go over to Tools, Arrange Objects, we have Duplicate. We have all kinds of stuff here that works similarly. We're going to use Duplicate. Now with Duplicate, you can have the ability to change, like if you want instances or copies. I think instances are like weird, like fake mirror, like, they're like fake mirror copies. They're not real copies, they're physical copies, okay? When you put on copies, they actually make physical copies. So we're going to go to select mode. You can copy in a circle, the linear, left and right, up and down. You can go along a spline if you draw that. So if you really wanted something really intricate, like a spline's kind of neat sometimes to do. We're just going to do simple linear right now for our first one. Maybe we'll try spline or something later on. Make my window smaller. All right. Okay, so now what do? We're going to go to enable, and we're going to enable a direction that we want to copy these along. So which one is kind of going left and right for me, or do I want to go the other way, like the blue axes? I mean, it really is all, whatever direction you're working, it doesn't really matter, blue or red. Remember, blue is Z, red is X. You can always look down here, green is Y, for your little key and tell which, right down there, which direction it is. So we definitely don't want to move it on Y. So I'm going to turn Y off, actually. I'm going to turn off X, too. When you have it on Z, And then we have to determine like what's a good thickness. I guess 50, okay? So we'll go to duplicate and we'll just tell it to have like a few copies here just to kind of gauge what we want to do. Also scale. I want to scale it up on the y-axis, so X, Y, Z. Whenever you see 3 boxes, that's X, that's Y, that's Z. It's alphabetically in order. So y-axis, I'm going to scale it up like 125 per copy. I don't want to rotate it, so I'm not enabling that. So under Tool, you hit Apply, and you can see, boom, you got the thing. It goes up. Like, do I like that scale per copy? I do. Is the distance good? It's okay. I can hit a Command Z undo and still remain in the duplicate feature, and then just go and alter my options. So maybe like, I don't know, that was too far apart. So maybe like 35, and then 125 was good on the scale. But how many duplicates do I want? I don't want more than 6. So I'm going to say like 10. And then I go to Tool and hit Apply, and then there's my gate. All right, now to make this gate improved and improve it with newness, you can go to, let's just keep it all together because it makes a null object for you. And so what you can do is go to your scaling tool, and because we moved the axes, I could just immediately kind of just go down my thing here and create like an arch or some sort of like wavy design. Just by scaling it on the y-axis only. So it's kind of neat that you can just like alter it immediately and kind of create your little design, whether it's, you know, a big arch or kind of a wave or whatever I'm doing here. All right, so let's go ahead and make a cube now. We'll make our spear point, just a simple one. So, whoops, didn't want to do that because it's already centered on the original, because that's coordinate 0, remember? So it's already centered on the original one. So I can reuse the duplicate settings that I did. I just have to like kind of create a little combo package of designs. So usually like a wrought iron thing has some sort of like little design here. We could, you know, if we really wanted to get fancy, we could make one out of a lathe right here, and all kinds of different stuff. But I'm not going to waste any time doing that. We're in the dark. It's night. You're not going to really see it that much, but we do need something there. So then I want a spear point or a fleur-de-lis or something. I think a spear point probably look nice, and believe it or not, a sphere makes a really easy, quick spear point. You just go to the spear and go to the sphere, becomes the spear. So it's like sphere, like S-P-H-E-R-E, and then spear, S-P-E-A-R. So don't like mispronounce those, you'll sound like a dork. So the sphere is going to become a spear. So segments, we're going to give it 4 segments, and it becomes a diamond. And then we just convert it with the conversion tool over here, so it becomes a polygon sphere, and then we squash it. So it's kind of a blade, and then we shrink the whole thing down, and then kind of stretch it out. And we want to make it skinny. I think that's a little too big still. Shrink it down, scale it up, and then just, you know, shove it into that little section we made down there. Maybe bring that up a little bit. All right, so Insta-spear from a sphere. And that's a little too wide, so let's fix that. All right, so that makes a decent, like, top or finial, as they would call it. Now, what I would do with those is I group them together, make one a child of the other, and just basically go back to your duplicate feature under tools, arrange. And at this point, you can try, you know, if you wanted to do the spline, you could go to your side view, and I think this is more work than I would actually want to do, but I could kind of like just draw a spline that flowed along the thing, and then I could duplicate along that spline. I guess since I'm doing it, might as well. I'm not going to finish that. I'm going to go back and do it the other way because that's the way I want you to do it, but I'm just kind of showing you both so that you have the option and you're not wondering in the future, what the hell does it do? So under duplicate, the old duplicate thing is there. All I'd have to do is select the cube and just let's do that, and then we'll do this one. So duplicate, and then the old settings are there. So I don't have to redo anything other than just go to tool and hit apply, and then, you know, each one of the copies you'll have to kind of put in position there. So I'd go to that next cube and then just kind of like lift it up, and then go to the next one and lift it up, and go to the next one and lift it up, and then just kind of manually get them in place. But like I said, if you're clever and there's always a way to do things faster and better and stronger, what have you. So that one's, there we go. And okay, so there, you know, I have my kind of my gate sort of done. I think my spear points could be a little bit thicker now that I'm looking at them, but too late for that. So, okay, well, let's take the original one here and we'll just copy paste it. Oh wait, we do have the original one here, it's right there. So we'll copy paste that, we'll put that into that. So what if we did it a different way and we copied along the spline? So we select the same thing and we go back to tools, arrange objects, and you have an arrange. You could actually arrange them the same way you do the duplicate without, so you can go arrange along a spline and do that as well. But I'm going to duplicate it, so let's go ahead. Kind of got sidetracked here. Arrange objects, duplicate. Linear, no, we want spline. And we're going to drag our spline into the box and ask for the spline, which is right here. So drag that in, plop. And then we want to determine like where's it going to go X, Y, Z wise. And you know, if you want to scale it or anything, it's always good to just do like, let's tell it how many duplicates, 10. Like, actually, let's give it more so we can kind of see it better. Hit apply. And you see like how it instantly created it along the spline. So it's kind of like, I think I had 10, my other number there. So I go to tool, hit apply. And then look, it's like instantly done. We'll just put the, what we do have to do is put the original into the new one there, and then it would just be a matter of lifting up the whole thing and putting it in position. I think I'm a little off or something with my measurements, but and then I'd have to waste time with that, and you know, I think it's just quicker to just go boop, 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 manually sometimes. Anyways, there's your shortcut if you ever want it. So now let's create a sweep, because wrought iron, you know, you got to have reinforced stuff on the wrought iron, and I could just take like a little itty bitty cube, like I could probably just take one of these cubes, copy and paste it, I don't want the spear, of course. So we're gonna, and just take that copy, and I think like this is dull and boring and somewhat of a cop out if I were to just, because this is going to show up. The light from the moon will hit that nicely. But you know, maybe I'll put one on the bottom like that. But for the top, I think I should have, you know, something else. So why don't we just reuse that spline since it's there? We don't need it anymore. So what you do with a sweep is you draw one, like it's kind of like a slide, and it becomes a tube shape. Whether it's a square tube or a circle tube or a star-shaped tube, like that old stupid Play-Doh machine where you'd squish out the tubes in the different shapes. If you had that when you were a kid, if you even played with Play-Doh, or do they even have Play-Doh anymore? I don't know. But with this spline, I'm going to slide another spline, like the circle or the square, or these other solid ones. It has to be a solid, unbroken spline along that, creating a 3D tube. It's good for handles and stuff like that. So you would draw your spline first. So we'll just like, you'd go to the view where you can draw it, and you'd use your points tool. And oops, I don't want to have another spline selected when I go get it, otherwise I'll try to connect. So you click and release your first line, and then as you want to get curves, you just hold down the handlebars or your mouse button, and it pull out these handlebars, and the direction that you drag the handlebars in is the direction the line will pretty much bend. And so, you know, you want to put a certain amount of points in. If you're stretching it out like this long, it's really hard to control. And if you're being a spaz and like a nervous Nelly and you're like, and putting in 10,000 points, it's going to get too hard to control or mess with. It's very similar to the vector points tool in Illustrator and other software, Path Tool, Photoshop, and other softwares that have a pen tool. So it's kind of like you know it in one, you know it in others. So now I need got to do the rest of it here in your main view, so you don't end up squishing it. If it ever comes out squished like a ribbon, it doesn't come out like a solid, like thick tube, then you did the second spline in the wrong the wrong view. So you don't want to, I think it defaults to the front view, but you don't want to do it here on the right side. You just want to draw the spline on the right side and then get out, and then do the rest here in your perspective. So the second spline I'm going to drag along that is a rectangle. We'll just kind of shrink that down. That will make us basically a tube approximately that big. You can customize that. You can go over here and change the width and the height depending. You can round it if you want it to be like a nice coffee cup, you know, handle or whatever. I'm going to shrink this one down. I'll just do it by hand. So that should cover it about there. I kind of want it to just be as thick as the other wrought iron, so I kind of just scaled it down by hand. All right, now it could be floating around down there. It doesn't really matter. All you have to do is put them into the sweep in the right order. So you create a sweep from your NURBS, and always into the sweep goes the spline you drew first, and then goes whatever you're sliding along that, and then you get your square shape. And then the cool part is it is all there still. I could go to the rectangle and, you know, scale that up. If you start getting these weird triangles, then you're trying to slide something along that just can't take the corner that short. Also, it's really unforgiving of crappy curves if you draw so like right there, you can kind of see right there in that spot, I was really sloppy with the curve, so it looks semi-sucky, but we're gonna go with it anyway. All right, so then you need like some sort of latch or lock for your fence. You need some sort of cylinder that the fence is going to swing from. And then you need something to attach it to the gate from. So, I mean, you got to do some parts, you know, here. You can't just like do that and stuff it into something. So you copy paste that, and then that'll be your little bracket. So you can, you know, recycle, reuse a lot of these parts once you got them going. So that could be just where it connects to the wall or the column that I'm going to build next. All right, and so we'll take those things and we'll stick it onto the hinge. All right, and we'll take the whole thing, copy paste it. That'll be the flip side. And we're gonna rotate it 180. And then we'll take, you know what I should probably do is this, group it together. So group objects, so we don't end up with a big mess. And then that and that are the bars. So this is my whole side of the fence, or gate, sorry, not a fence. And then I would just copy paste that and rotate that 180. And that would be the flip side. Why am I keeping that separate from the other thing, this thing? Because if we want to animate the gate opening. Okay, now I didn't make a latch, okay, but I'm going to show you. Oh, I thought didn't I rotate that 180, or did I undo that by mistake? Oh no, I did. It is going the right way, sorry. And we'll stick that on there like so. Okay, so what, I don't know, let's just make a half-ass latch really quick. So we'll make like, I don't know, like some sort of boxy thing. I don't know. I mean, probably would have like some sort of old-timey, like bolt latch type of thing, I would imagine, but we'll kind of do that. All right, and maybe I'll knock a keyhole in there or something later. All right, so we're just trying to keep it simple. You can put more detail on your own. All right, now for these null objects that control the gate, this and this, we could just call it bars if you want to identify it. Which you should, otherwise you're just like, what's what over here? Just move the axes over there to the hinge on each one. And so then get off the axes, don't forget, or you screw it up. So now when it animates, or I want to animate it, it goes, and you know, I'm making noises, sound effects. And then I could open that up, okay? We don't want to have it open when we first do it. I think it's scary if it opens on its own, you know, that kind of thing. I think the cube needs to go into the other bars so that and that part goes with it. All right, now last of the last section. We're gonna make a column. So we need to have a base for our column, and with the column, we gotta make it look old and dilapidated too. So we'll do something to that. I don't know, something quick and easy. Let's copy paste that, and we'll just make some like quick decorative junk on the bottom there. You know, I would hope you would make yours a little bit more elaborate than what I'm doing here. And let's take those two, we'll scale them up, they're a little small. All right, well, just keep copying that cube, recycle, reuse. And this one, we'll shrink it down a little. I want to keep it all centered. Come on, my scaling tool. Thought it was on the other tool. So this will be the column. All right, let's get all that. We want to get it near the, we won't be able to attach it, so like I might have to make that longer, or I could always make this shorter. All right. And then for the top part, let's get all that. Copy paste it. Alright, so you see how it's kind of working out. Now, as far as the top part, like that would probably have a finial. A common one would be maybe a pyramid. With the pyramid shape, oh, I made a polygon by mistake. Where's pyramid? There it is. I want to, well, I kind of got off center here, but that's okay. I can center it by hand. All right. Okay, I'm going to add more segments to the pyramid. Wait, well, I made too many. Like so. Pyramid has strange segments. And then maybe use like, I guess a bulge deformer. That fit around it a little bit better for better deformation. Make sure that it's all centered decently, and then put the bulge in the pyramid. And we're gonna bulge it kind of like that. I'm gonna convert that to a shape so we don't have to deal with this deformer stuff. So just current state to object and then delete the original. And then that I would take and just stick a sphere on. I mean, this is the only kind that I can recall that pops to mind. I think we need to scale that down because I don't want to have a spike coming to the top. All right, so there's our piling. Now it's kind of neat to make these things look a little like weathered. So let's take the whole column there, and let's just group it, and we don't have to do it to both sides, but we could do it to one side. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute here. So let's rough this up. So I'm going to take all these cubes and the pyramid and maybe even the sphere, and we'll convert them all into polygons. And then the cool thing about polygons is you can connect them like Legos. So I'll just go connect plus delete, and now that's one piece. And then we're going to take a landscape object, which we're going to use later on this project. And the landscape object, you can go to it's really good for landscape, obviously, but you have a spherical thing down there where you can just click on that, and it becomes like a big like meteor boulder thing. And this is really good. Like I used one to knock a hole in the glass. We can make this, we can bool off a corner of this post to make it look like it's, you know, weathered and falling apart. And of course with the landscape you got your rough furrows and your fine furrows. And your sea level and plateau level, and you know, you can kind of alter the appearance of it. Anyways, you're going to convert, we don't even need to convert that really, but let's make a bool, and we'll put the landscape in first and then the combined post, and then we can kind of, let's get rid of grout shading and lines so we can kind of see it. It's giving me a weird like after image there. There's something floating around. Oh, you know what it is? It's those damn cubes. All right, we got to backtrack. Let's copy the landscape so we don't have to do the rest again. We got to backtrack. My bad. The cubes here all need more segments. They don't have the geometry to take the hit of the, so I added more parts to it. When it has more geometry, then it can do it. When it's just a segment, like one segment, when you do a bool, sometimes that weird thing happens, and it just doesn't have the geometry to calculate putting it together, combining it. So that's why I went back, and now we can go and do what we did to do. Hopefully this will work, and I don't look like an idiot. All right, so we'll take and make another bool, and I'm going to paste in the landscape again, so I don't have to do that. And we'll scoot that over. Just take a chunk out of the whole thing. So first goes in the landscape, and then the column, and then something is amiss. What is going on here? Let's do that again. Something didn't work. We'll make a new bool. Alright, sphere, landscape. So landscape will go in last. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. So first goes in the tool, and then, which is the landscape. Sorry, I'm screwing up. It's early. Cut me some slack. And then nothing happens. What is going on here? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I didn't like to calculate that for some reason. I don't know why, but some, the bool can be a strange animal. I think I didn't make my shape well enough. Yeah, that's not working out. Should have worked out, but it didn't work out. All right, so scratch that. We'll do that in class. I don't even want to put that in the video, but it's in the video, so it's going to stay. So something completely malfunctioned here. I'm not sure what, but it shouldn't have done that. Technically, it usually works pretty well. But let's see if we can fiddle with it. So let's go to the landscape and give it more segments. And then we'll convert that to, and then just see if we can get it to show up. Yeah, I'm definitely having like a memory thing going on. I might have been doing too much before this and kind of filled up my scratch list. I think I'm going to delete it if I can. There we go. So I got rid of it. Death to that stupid thing. So let's take and copy this back over, and we'll figure out another way of messing up the column. I think I tried to combine too many shapes together. This and this and this. This had triangular polygons, and this had square polygons, and I was shortcutting it too much. So I'll have to show you how to weather that up a little bit in class rather than this video. But I think there's your basic gate. Any other design you want to put in there, like you can see this kid who did that, and if you don't want to make an iron gate, you could always do, let's see, that's sample there. That's not it. You can always do like some fancier details on it, like this, fleur-de-lis. That could be like on the roof for a widow's walk, or just fancy railing on the peak of the roof, or you can make an old-timey kind of wood fence if it doesn't have, you know, if it's looking more like a shacky house than a big, you know, plantation style haunted house. All depends, you know, on what you did there. But you do need to have a gate or a threshold of a fence that you do cross over. I think this type of thing is going to be best because you can stick it on your trail. It's actually less work than doing an entire fence around the property. And when you do a fence around the property, it kind of confines the property a little bit too much. It makes it a little less scary. What we're going to do is, let me show you. There it is. So we're going to create an animation. And this is not the one I wanted to show you. Let's see, maybe it's this. Nope, that's not it. 4. That's not it either. Let me see, there's one I wanted to show you and I don't remember which one that was either. Perhaps this is the one. Okay. So we're going to create our landscape, and you don't want to see the horizon line. That's an instant net. And we're going to navigate through our landscape to our gate. You can see how like the moonlight kind of reflects on it here and there. And then we're going to pass through that. And then I kind of like separated my property with this little like walkway. So, you know, it kind of like saves me from having to do too much of the landscape. And to my haunted forest, and then to the house. All right, so everybody's going to be slightly different, and all your gates are going to be slightly different. And you would want to put textures on this like brick or stone or concrete. There's plenty of textures that we can do. We haven't done textures yet, but anyways, forgive the mistakes that I made. That's the gist of it. Anyways, this was review. So there's your main gate. As far as messing it up and making it look old and weathered, I'll show you another day in class, or I'll do a separate video on that, I think. So we'll probably save that. I'll come back to this and then do a separate video on that. All right, guys, see you in class.